Hello YouTube, Aaron Freeman here, and once again, you join me for yet another commentary on yet another episode for my well-acclaimed web series, Superlonnys. And this time, I'm going to be doing this one solo for, I feel like episode D is the weakest episode out of the bunch and doesn't really have like much to offer when it was re-released as, as the shorter version episode D. But I'll explain everything when we get a start on with this commentary, which I'm probably going to start on right now. Sorry about that. I'm doing this commentary in my bedroom. I have my phone on my desk, which is just an inch away from my laptop, so you can hear the episode playing while I speak at the same time. Yeah, let's just get started, shall we? I missed that ident. I recently upgraded it with a more shit's about to go down kind of vibe and music, which I first used the upgraded ident in my short comedy film Pitch Drink, as well as the recent Superlonnys short Elemental Predictions. So anyways, on to episode D itself, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is this previous recap, because I think a lot of people will agree with me. I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say that this runs on for way too long. The previous recap, it goes on for literally 2.5 minutes. It literally feels like a shorter version of episode C, because if there were any first timers that are watching my series for the first time, and they watch episode D as their first time experience of this series, then they're probably not going to bother watching episode C, because this previous recap pretty much rubs in all the story elements, the plot holes, the storylines, not plot holes. So yeah, I intend to keep all the previous recaps shorter in future episodes. For those of you that have been following the series since 2014, you'll realize that this version of episode D here is not the original episode D. When I first released this episode, it was originally on for 20 minutes, but of course I couldn't upload video. Back then in 2015, I couldn't upload videos longer than 15 minutes, so I had no choice but to split the episode into 2 parts. Not as 2 episodes, but 2 parts. And then a few months later, under the recommendation of Kiefer Adams, who plays Ice Ray, he showed me his cut of episode D, where he split the episode. He created episode D part 2 as episode E, and I actually thought it was an interesting idea. So that's when I decided to have episode D part 2 become episode E. I'm really happy that Kiefer is wearing the same blue jumper that he wore in episode C, because I have this fascination in the sense of continuity during a web series. Even though the beginning of episode D here takes place 5 days after episode C. I have a funny story to tell you regarding Kiefer here. While we were filming this episode, halfway through production, he dyed his hair black. Like, in the first half of production, like this shot here, he had greasy blonde hair, but then suddenly, halfway through production, he dyed his hair black, which was a bit of a nuisance, but a funny nuisance now that I'm looking back at this. But of course, what I then had to do was I had to hide his hair throughout most of the episode. Um, in the later half of episode D and in episode E, Kiva was wearing a cap, hiding his hair. And I also had to, whenever there's a shot of both Ice Ray and Jade in the shot, I would always not show his hair. I would just show the lower half of his head to hide the fact that his hair kept changing color. We all know you're there, Shade. And in enters Ryan Payne, aka Overlord Payne 1. That's his YouTube channel's name, by the way. And that was the last appearance of the Sparky gag where Teledude misnames Elektra Sparky. I really love the suspense of this scene until Ice Ray knocks his block off with his knee. And of course, the actual shot of his knee going into Ryan's crotch was sped up. I had him do it in slow motion, and then I would speed up that shot 8 times on Windows Live Movie Maker. Oh, another thing I want to mention about this episode is episode D is the first episode that we scripted, because in the previous 3 episodes they were completely improvised. Like, we would come up with the story and lines on spot, but here Kiefer emailed me a script idea for episode D. I took a liking to it, and I thought we'd give it a shot in like filming something based on a script. Some of you might be wondering why Teledude couldn't just teleport away. Well, that's because he's in pain. The short story is, if a super being is in pain, then they lack the ability to concentrate and focus on unleashing their powers, and hence that's why Teledude was weak to teleport away, and as a result got shocked by his ex-girlfriend then. There's Jamie Carruthers, a phenomenal young actor to be working with, to have a pleasure to work with. And this area here, this ruins here, is just perfect for a character like Quake. My mate Kiefer found this area, and I thought this be a perfect location, filming location, to film a battle here. That was a stumble there, pretty much like how I was stumbling, or how I am stumbling throughout this commentary. If you look closely at my hands, Octod's hands, you'll notice that I'm tied up with a piece of shoelace, and Jonathan pretty much is just holding his hands behind his back to give the illusion that he's being tied up from the back. Oh, and here comes another mention of an upcoming character by the name of Griselda, who would later be played by Rebecca Sally. You gotta love the comedy vibe from Jonathan there, who has left the series last year, which I completely respect. For more info on that, just look on Fireball's character profile on the website and look at the trivia sections. But yeah, it's a shame that Jonathan's no longer involved in the series, but sometimes these things happen. An actor will eventually lose interest in being involved with a series and doing the same thing. And I like to point out the tree lines behind Ice Ray, Elektra, and Teledude there, that's the same area that we filmed episode B at. So basically, one of the trees there is the same tree that Teledude was hiding up at before jumping down to unleash his power landing towards, me and Kiefer. I really love that brief character development between Petrosa and Jade. It really establishes their relationship and what Petrosa's goal is in this series, or what his old goal was. And Jade has a death wish in going back to her ex. And also, this is the first one of my first videos where I cross-cut from different scenes, from Shade to Jade to Petrosa to Hector to Timon and Pumbaa, hence me and Jonathan. I think it flows pretty well, although I think I'm getting better at it, you know, cross-cutting from different areas of the same scene, if it makes sense. Bless Fireball. Oh, and here's an interesting trivia on this episode. Almost all the characters use their powers only once, minus Octard, who doesn't use his powers at all. And I love how Ryan just comes up behind Kiefer here, just really creates the suspense. And that little gag, how just before Kiefer finishes his line, he gets teleported away. I still wonder what Jackie is gagged with there, what she has wrapped around her mouth. And again, why did I say again? And this is where we begin the ultimate battle, which will result in the events of episode E, which is another video. But of course, coming up is the halfway point of the original episode D, is where Fireball goes up and over, unleashing his flame charge, which Quake just explains here, which could blow up the atmosphere and kill them all. And I like how I just wiggle away, trying to get away from Fireball before he unleashes his power, and up flows Jim's Hacked. And that is episode D, part 1, minus the end credits. For those of you that have been watching this series since 2014. And yeah, that's episode D. The prelude to episode E. Yeah, I enjoyed talking about the least favourite episode here, because there's not really much to talk about, minus location facts and funny behind-the-scenes stories. But it was worth it for the sake of a trip down memory lane. So yeah, that was... I don't really know what to say, really, because... Well, again, I was doing this commentary on my own. Usually I would do a collab commentary video like I did with Chris in episode A, Kiefer in episode B, and Jamie in episode C. But I couldn't really... I wasn't sure if I wanted to do... Basically, I wanted to try and see if I'm capable of doing these sorts of commentary videos on my own. I would rate it 40% because, as you may have noticed throughout this commentary, I stuttered a lot, but I'm just thankful that I was able to, you know, explain the whole stories, you know, at all. Yeah. So yeah, that was episode D. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. I'll be talking to you guys on the next one, which is episode E, and I plan to collab with someone for that commentary, and this is where you come in. Who do you think I should do the commentary on episode E with? Let me know down below, and until then, this is Aaron Freeman signing off. Peace out. Ciao.